Well, I'm Oliver. Okay. Hello, so my name's Oliver. I'm half English, half German. So I grew up in England, Germany, and Ukraine. So both my parents are artists, like my mum's a dancer, my dad's a writer. And yeah, I had like a childhood of moving around a lot. I mean, I was educated more in the UK, but I think I moved to Germany permanently or more seriously in 2014. And I've been in Taiwan for about 3 years. Yeah, I really like Taiwan actually, but it's been kind of a something. Yeah. So actually, when I first arrived in Taipei, I didn't do any research because I like to have as big a culture shock as possible. And I arrived right in the middle, and I was living near Taipei main station. And I was, to be honest, it was very overwhelming because there's so much stuff packed into so little space, and so many scooters and lights and signs and everything. And I was super jet lagged on the first day that I was here, and I wandered into the park, into 228 Peace Park, and then I kind of wandered around that, and that was my first experience, and that was a really memorable experience. And then actually I spent a lot of time in that park since then, doing Tai Chi and things like this. So I got really into Kung Fu around 15, and I kind of started training it full time, and I would train, from dusk till dawn basically, for many years. And I was training Wing Chun, and my teacher is a student of Yip Ching, who's Yip Man's son, or Ye Wan. And I really just dedicated a lot of my life to that, and I really love Kung Fu. For me, it's like a form of self-expression, and it's also kind of a connection to like more ancient knowledge, and wisdom, which I think is really interesting and useful today as well. And then I was spending a lot of time in Hong Kong, and I ended up kind of coming to Taipei more and more. And what happened actually is I was doing MMA as well, and I got injured. I broke both my feet, and I couldn't walk for a year. So this is in Wales, I started doing some Qigong, and the feet thing, it hadn't healed, and it hadn't healed in a year, and I just did some Qigong, and then a week later, it was 50% better. And I thought, oh, okay. So I started doing more and more. And then I learned more about Taipei and would visit when I was in Hong Kong. And I discovered more and more Tai Chi teachers and other forms of Chinese Kung Fu that are more internal, like Bagua, and more Qigong. And now I'm living in Taipei. I'm acting. I'm like an actor and model in Taipei, and I still spend a lot of time doing Kung Fu. I think one thing about martial arts in Taipei is that you really have a huge amount of really high-level masters. But for whatever reason, a lot of the younger people don't have too much interest in this. And the thing is a little bit of a shame, actually, because people don't really know what they're missing. But yeah, hopefully people will pick it up before it dies away. Sorry. Okay, so basically in the past, you had a lot of people who did Kung Fu in China, and these people were effective fighters. But today you look at MMA and people don't seem to have a lot of success when they do Kung Fu. But the fact is that really in Kung Fu, not a lot of people train that hard anymore, because there's no financial incentive anymore, people don't have the time, and just through the chaos of history, a lot of stuff has been lost. But the real benefit of Kung Fu is that it develops specific attributes. So if you look at MMA, a lot of these techniques, they come from arts that themselves come from Kung Fu. And like Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu comes from Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, which comes from Chinese Kung Fu. Karate is the same, Western kickboxing comes from karate, actually. So, like, what Kung Fu actually does is it develops specific attributes within yourself. Certain types of relaxation, certain types of speed, certain kind of mental attributes. And that's why it's linked to Qigong and stuff like this. So if you have a style of Kung Fu that's designed for like the 1800s, you know, and the other martial arts that were active then and what people wore and things like this, then if you try to take that exact technique and just use it in MMA, it's probably not going to work for you, you know. But if you develop the attributes and develop the different kind of changes to your mind and body that Kung Fu will give you, then when you then learn another technique, whether it's an MMA technique or a different technique, then you will notice a difference and you'll understand what Kung Fu is. So it's kind of like something that you have to use to kind of apply and to have a use out of, but it has like a higher function. And that's why I love Kung Fu, because you can transform yourself through this practice. And that's actually why I like a lot of the other kind of traditional things like meditation and Qigong and like Gu Dai Wen Hua things. So my dream is actually to find a way to connect the amazing people and knowledge in Taiwan with the West. Actually, you know, in the West, there's a huge appetite for, you know, Chinese Kung Fu, for meditation and all these different things. But in Taiwan, I think just with the trends and stuff like this, a lot of young people don't really adopt it. And I often think to myself, well, you know, there will probably come a time when people do want to have these things, and hopefully it won't have disappeared. So my dream is to find a way to promote Gu Dai Wen Hua and Qigong and all of these arts in Taiwan. Most of the people who are doing it are, you know, over 50 at least, and to find ways to connect it to Westerners and also to within Taiwan as well.
Last thing.
Okay. Probably the funniest thing I did in Taiwan was in terms of acting was this music video. I had to basically dress up. I had fake sunburn. I had to put on sort of shorts. It was like a 70s office schoolboy kind of thing. And I had to have some fly swatters and fight somebody with the fly swatter. And then in between takes, the cameras were still rolling. So I did a Li Xiaolong thing with like the two nunchuck fly swatters. And they kept it for some reason. That was funny. But yeah, that was enjoyable. That was a very surreal shooting experience. Yeah. All right, thank you for watching. You can follow me on my Instagram, which is Ollie Von Herder, OLIVONHERDER.